One of the biggest questions a person faces in life is, what makes me happy? What makes anyone happy? Is it food? Is it money? Is it love? What makes people happy? Happy has evolved to mean more than lucky, which its European etymology suggests. Happy metaphorically means many things to many different people. But even in the founding of our country, it was declared that people should be happy. Developments in neuroscience have provided clues as to what makes us happy and what happy looks like in the brain. Dr. Lorraine G. Brunning of MeetYourHappyChemicals.com reports that the brain releases 4 different types of happy chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. It would be great if these chemicals were surging all the time, she says, but it just doesn't work that way. Each happy chemical has a special job to do, and it turns off when the job is done. Experts say we can increase the levels of these chemicals through our food choices and through performing various activities. But are we as a nation obsessed with happiness? According to an article written by Carlin Flora for Psychology Today, in the year 2008, 4,000 books were published on happiness, while a mere 50 books on the topic were released in the year 2000. The most popular class at Harvard University at the time was about positive psychology, and at least 100 other universities were offering similar courses. Achieving happiness had definitely become an official movement. But a counter-movement grew, a movement that posed the question, what's so wrong with not being happy? At the forefront of the movement are Jerome Wakefield of New York University and Alan Horwitz of Rutgers University, who have written the book The Loss of Sadness: How Psychiatry Transformed Normal Sorrow into Depressive Disorder. And Wake Forest University's Eric Wilson has written a defense of melancholy in Against Happiness. They observed that our preoccupation with happiness has come at the cost of sadness, an important feeling that we've tried to banish from our emotional repertoire. Horwitz laments that young people who are naturally weepy after breakups are often urged to medicate themselves instead of working through their sadness. Wilson fumes that our obsession with happiness amounts to a craven disregard for the melancholic perspective that has given rise to our greatest works of art. The happy man, he writes, is a hollow man. Viktor Frankl, a prominent psychiatrist and neurologist, largely agrees. Frankl's 1946 book, Man's Search for Meaning, in which he wrote about his experiences in the Nazi concentration camp, explores the idea that meaning greatly outweighs happiness. In fact, he says, it is the very pursuit of happiness that thwarts happiness. In a study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology, psychological scientists asked nearly 400 Americans aged 18 to 78 whether they thought their lives were meaningful and/or happy. Examining their self-reported attitudes towards meaning, happiness, and many other variables, the researchers found that a meaningful life and a happy life overlap in certain ways, but are ultimately very different. Leading a happy life, the psychologists found, is associated with being a taker, while leading a meaningful life corresponds with being a giver. So, what do you think? Is there more to life than being happy? After all, the presence of unhappy chemicals is only natural. Sometimes pain is a part of happiness, and sometimes all of those happy options make us miserable. Now back to the big question, what makes you happy?